Hi everybody, welcome to my channel. I'm Dennis. Today we're going to do a review of a case from Phanteks. It's the Eclipse G360A. We're going to have a quick look at it, see what all comes with it, and yeah, let's do a quick review. There we go. Okay, so this is the box that came in. Okay, Eclipse G360A from Phanteks. I'll have a quick look on the inside, see how it's wrapped, and then we'll get it all out. So one thing I want to point out is I hate styrofoam. And when I see cases wrapped with styrofoam, these get everywhere. I hate it. There's better material they can use to pack these with. I wish they would start doing that. Anyhow, it's packed well at least. Plastic over top of it. We'll get it out, have a better look. Okay, so it's out of the box, out of the styrofoam, which I hate. Can't stress that enough. Plastic's on top, we'll get that off. The box is a little bit beat up that it came in. It's a bit smaller than I was expecting. A lot lighter. Of course, tempered glass. Of course, they tell you that. It's got plastic on the outside, which is nice. So let's start off taking off our tempered glass. We have two little thumb screws here. I don't know if they're adaptive or not. Let's find out. Yep. So they just set there, which I like. And they're not so tight I can't undo it, like I have been known to have to do. It's got a little thing here to pull it off. Now, I think, let me just see. No, okay, so it just pulls off and lifts off. It's a bit dark, but that's mostly because of the plastic that's on it. So, not too bad. So, the shroud on the bottom is riveted on, so it does not come off, which is unfortunate. I kind of like it when they let you take that off. But that's okay. Our case cables are here. We'll have a look at those later. Now let's go to the front and we'll come back to the inside here after. So Phanteks cases are pretty much the same. They have the mesh in the front. You got your 3 RGB fans in the front here. And taking this off is probably usually just pulling from the bottom. I'm just going to feel inside here if there's any little rubber tabs or anything like that. Doesn't seem to be. So I should be able to just pull this. I'm just going to push this back. Oh, that came off very easy. A little pull on the bottom and it comes right off. It's very light. I can't get over how light it is. I like that. These cases, when you get your full system in it, they can be extremely heavy. So let's have a better look here. Our control module, everything is up here. Our fans are all pre-wired in through, so not going to have an issue there. That'll be all right. Not too much more to see here. Now, you've got 3 120mm fans, and you do have room. It looks like you could put maybe some more. We'll have a go at that in a second here. Let's see what kind of fan sizes we can put in here. But it does have the room to move a little bit here, although most people will stack them like you see it now. Now, some of the things I do look for it when I look in a case, I like a nice big opening so you can work with the CPU cooler if you need to. An opening on the top left up here so you can feed your cables through. Now, the thing is, when you have your standoffs here, you want to make sure your cutoff for your opening is above those. Because if your motherboard is going to wind up setting above this, well, you better feed your cable through first or you're going to have some issues. All right, so it's all set up, it looks like right now, for an ATX motherboard, but of course you can move it around however you like. So I wanted to start with the fans on the front again, just to go back one more time to it. So like I said, you got 3 120mm fans in the front. You can fit two 140mm. So you can have a maximum of 7 120mm fans and 4 140mm fans. I'll get more into that in a second here. So fan support, you can have 3 120s or 2 140s. And on the top, you can have 3 120s again or 2 140s. So on the top, you can have a radiator of 240 or 360. And on the front, you can have a 280 or 360. All right. And on the rear, there is no fan that comes with it. Okay, so you can put a 120 there. Does not accommodate a 140. All right. that covers the fans and the rads. And on the inside, I just want to show you that as well. So this opening right here is so you can put your radiator in there, of course. It gives you lots of room to move things around. That covers it for the fans. I want to go back to the inside again. So on the inside of this, of course, you can fit up to a large GPU up to 400 millimeters. I'm not sure exactly how long they are, but that's pretty long. So you'll have to make sure that you can fit. I mean, I think it's going to fit most graphics cards here. Let's just have a grab of the biggest graphics card I happen to have, although it doesn't really seem to work. So this is the TUF 6700, right? And it will fit in there. Still room to spare even with the radiator. All right, just good size comparison, I guess you'd say. So if you can fit that in there, there's probably not much you're gonna have to worry about. Has lots of room for SSDs, and now that front mesh, it's a very fine mesh, so it has more airflow. Okay, so just wanted to point that out as well. So it says that it has a optional RGB light. So it basically says it has a LED light here. I don't think it's optional. It shows it very clearly when you look at pictures online that there's LED here. Now I kind of did look. I didn't see how that could be. So I'm going to open up the back and see what we've got on the inside, because that's the only way we're going to know for sure. So the three fans in the front, like I mentioned before, 3 120 millimeter, are digital RGB PWM fans that are included. And of course, it works with all the software. It works with your Aurora, ASUS Aurora Sync, RGB Fusion, your MSI Mystic Light, your ASRock Polychrome Sync, and of course, Razer Chroma, which I use Razer Chroma for a few things. So that kind of makes it nice for that. So let's have a look and get the back panel off. The back panel is going to be the adaptive screws as well, just like the other side was. So hopefully, yeah, see, that's one thing I like. A lot of times, in some cases, these are so tight, you have to grab a screwdriver or something to get them loose, and really there's no need. So that's just going to pull. It's a solid steel, nothing to worry about there. That should work without any issues at all. Now, let's have a look. Okay, we have our SSD mounts here, room for a third one. Now, I don't know if you have to buy the extra things here, or it's meant for you to move them around depending on what you like. Hard drive cage down here for 3.5, and you can fit 2.5 in there as well. Of course, all our cabling is all rerouted, so you don't have to mess with it too much. We'll show you all the case cables here in a minute. But I want to look underneath, so I'm going to pause this for a second so I can look underneath and see if I can see a RGB strip. So I wanted to be able to look and see if there was an RGB strip, and there is. You can see it. I'm just going to show it to you here. So there's our RGB strip right here. It goes all the way from the back to the front. So that's going to light up the whole front of your power supply shroud. And that's probably why they rivet it in place. They don't want it moving. They don't want it coming apart or anything like that. So now we know. Okay, so I wanted to show you all the case cables. So you got your fan connectors, 4-pin PWM. Okay, so there's 3 here. Of course, we know there's 3 in the front. We've got our USB 3.0. We have our HD audio. It looks to be pretty much it. Now you do have a SATA connector here. A lot of times people miss this. So this SATA connector is going to go to your power supply. Don't forget to plug that in. Some people were wondering why their lights aren't working. Well, if you don't plug that into your power supply to a SATA cable that's on it, well, you're not going to have them light up, or maybe even turn. Although if these are plugged in, they'll probably turn. They just won't light up. So again, we're going to get the thing set back up and see what comes inside the box. That's your accessories. So our hard drive cage is here. Looks like there's screws on the bottom. I'll have a look at that in a second. So you can move everything around. Now, this comes out. All right, that's going to be all your box accessories. We'll have a look at that in a second, because there's something that caught my eye. I'm trying to figure out what it is. Let's have a look here. No, I guess it's just the bottom of the hard drive cage. Anyway, let's get this out. It always comes fastened in here. You have to pull this out. Helps it to stay in place. So that's what we're looking at on the inside. This is Phanteks HDD installation. Even tells you how to move everything, all that kind of stuff. Yep. And then of course you slide it back in. Should go in fairly easy. If it doesn't, well, maybe you put it in wrong. And our box of accessories. Okay, so our box of accessories, it doesn't feel like there's very much in here. But then, what do you really need? But, so, we have twist ties, all our different screws. You've got a couple extra screws for graphics cards or whatever, power supply. Thing for tightening your standoffs, and probably some extra standoffs in here as well. So that will look here. Yes, and it has extra standoffs as well. So that's good to know. Other than that, you have an installation guide. All right, and we'll point this out in a second for the top of the case. And of course, if you want to RMA it, they give you all the things to help you do that. Let's hope you don't have to do that, because that would be bad. Okay, when we're looking at this, what I like about it is everything is kind of nicely tied up here already for you. Now, you're going to be able to move this around if you need to. You shouldn't have to move very much. Right? SSDs can go here. I tend to use M.2s now, so if you need extra storage, you can put an SSD in there. Oh, with the price of M.2s and SSDs, they're almost the same. So I don't know. I guess if you can find a better deal on an SSD, you'd use that. Otherwise, you wouldn't need it. And if you want mechanical hard drives, you've got room for 2 there. And that's pretty much it. So let's move around, I guess, to the back, and then we'll have a look at the bottom and the top. So looking at the back, of course, we have our opening for just airflow, but of course, I'm going to put a rear exhaust fan on there, which thankfully I have been sent some Silentwings Pro 4 120mm fans, and that will go perfectly in here when I do my build. We have 7 PCIe slots, which is always nice. And of course, you have room for your power supply down here and your I/O shield. All right, pretty basic, nothing extravagant. Let me see, is there anything else I can find out? No, that's pretty much it. Let's go to the top. So I like to put the front, just lay it down here so you can see it better. First, we have our ultra-fine mesh. Okay, magnetic filter, so you can just, it's even got the little grooves so you can get your finger in there easier to take it off. So, the dust filter. Right, I think that's a nice touch. Of course, you have your opening for your fans, as I mentioned before. But this is the part that I like. You have your headphone jack, you have 2 USB 3.0, and you have your power and your digital for your LEDs. Right, so that's it. Now, something I did notice is with the mesh, it doesn't really sit quite flush. You can actually kind of catch your finger on it, which I don't care for that. I tried moving it around and different things, but no matter what you do, you're going to catch your finger on it. So, well, it's not a big deal, but just something I thought might point out because, yeah, I think that would kind of bug me a little bit. So other than your fans, the one thing I noticed is you only have your addressable RGB, so make sure you know that it's addressable. Okay, so make sure if you're going to use that, your motherboard accommodates it. And has the power switch. There's no HDD LED, there's no reset. So there's a couple less cables you have to worry about where to plug into the front panel connectors. And yeah, so I think one last thing I want to do, we'll talk about the motherboard sizes and then we'll light it up just to see what it's going to look like. Okay, so before I do that, I want to go back to these. So these 2 buttons are not reset or anything like that. They're simply your color button and your mode button. All right, so that's your mode. This is to sync through your different colors. All right, and of course, like I said, your USB and headphone mic. Well, where's the power button? That's what I want to know. Let's have a look. So I almost missed it. This is your power button right here. It's so sleek. You just push it. It's just a slight push. Has a little rubber push on the inside, and that's it. It's kind of slick. It's actually, you almost don't even recognize it. So, yeah, anyway, I like that. So I forgot to show the bottom of the case. So you got a couple nice feet here. Sets it up off the ground a little bit. You do have a filter, just comes out from here, goes back in. And I mentioned the hard drive cage. So it does move. Has 2 screws here and 2 of them tightened in there a little bit. Kind of a little bit hard to get to, but at least they have the grooves in there. So you can go in and you can loosen them and move everything. So if you want to do that, you can certainly do that and make more room for your cables, for your power supply, everything like that. It is pretty cramped with a power supply in here to fit your cables in if you leave it in this spot. So just want to make sure you know that. Okay, so one more thing I did realize. Not only is there screws in the bottom, you have screws here too. So if you don't undo those, you can't take out your hard drive cage. So you have to sit there with a power supply shroud that doesn't come off, figure out what screws it is, and then take them out too. Now, just to add to that, once your screws are out, it does have other holes, so you can move it back a little bit more if you want to. Once all your screws are out, you should be able to move this now. Okay, just has a little side panel here. It comes out, and all your hard drive cages just drop on out. So one more thing I wanted to mention, of course, it takes anywhere from a ATX, micro ATX, and mini ATX, and even an eATX up to 280 millimeters wide. All right. So of course the chassis is steel with tempered glass. It's a mid-tower case. For those that want the dimensions, width, height, and depth, it's 455 by 200 by 465 millimeters, or 17.9 by 7.87 by 18.3 inches. All right, just the model of this is the PH-EC360ATG-DBK02. That's a mouthful in there now. So anyway, basically it's the Phanteks Eclipse G360A black. And there is a white, matte white version as well. So just wanted to point all of that out. Didn't want to miss anything or skip over anything, because it's important to know you can vertically mount a graphics card, but you will need the vertical GPU bracket and of course the riser cable. All right, 2.5 inch hard drives, so SSDs up to 3. 2 are included, which I showed you in the back of the case there, or 3.5 inch, you can have up to 2 drives. All right. Now, a lot of things that people like to know about this as well is your power supply. You can have 220 or 280 millimeter, or for those like inches again, 8.6 or 11 inches, depending on whether your hard drive cage is in or out. All right. I suggest if you don't need it, take it out. Use M.2 drives are faster anyway. But if you need bulk storage, well, then that's something you have to decide for yourself. Cable management, 36 millimeters or 1.4 inches. All right. Now, the weight it's not that heavy. The net weight is 6.51 kilograms, which is 14.35 pounds. Gross weight is 7.8 kilograms and 17.28 pounds. It really felt very light to me. So I don't know. I guess you can decide for yourself. That pretty much covers everything. Comes with a 5-year warranty, which I always like to see. That way you know if something happens, you can reach out to them. They've got the RMA thing right in the box there, so that helps you. All right, so we got it all lit up. Power is just plugged into the SATA. That's all it's on right now. It's just power to the SATA cable that came with the case. You can see her strip all lit up. You know, the default colors, of course, are rainbow. You can change them. Now, I don't think I can change it with the case right now, but hey, let's give it a try and see what happens. Yes, I can. Look at that. And what happens when I do the other button? Different modes. Colors. What do you think? Pretty slick. So the color button simply just does that. Just switches the different colors. Depends on what you like. I have a tendency to like the blue, but if you want to switch it around, put it to a different color, whatever you like, oh, you can do that too. All right, everybody, so that's it. That's the video. Hope it gave you some insights onto this case and everything it's got. Yeah, I really like the case. There are some things I don't like, but I mean, there's things with most cases I don't like, and a lot of things that I do. As long as the good outweigh the bad, you're in there. So I like this case. Dimensions, weight, works for me. I do like that RGB strip in the front. It's pretty cool. Not too many cases give you that, although they're getting more and more like that. RGB fans are included. I have a fan I'm going to put for the rear exhaust that did not come with it. So I don't know. I don't know why they do that. Maybe they just figure you want to use your own anyway. Or it's just saving a buck. What do you think? If you're new here, you want to think about subscribing, hit that bell for notifications as videos come up so you can see them. And yeah, just tell me your thought down in the comments, and hope you enjoyed it. See you next time.